Good morning all. So, we were working on indirect speech, direct, indirect. Fine. So, I hope we all remember what is indirect. Fine. So, when we say the words of the speaker for the indirect speech, so when we say the word of the speaker can be reported into two ways, one is direct and the other one is indirect. So, we are now learning in detail about indirect speech. Yesterday we have learned few things and we were working on tense change. What are the points that we need to take care? What are the important factors that we need to take care while changing from direct to indirect? Fine. So, we have learnt about the tense changes. Though we have studied the chart about the tense changes from past tense to present, from present to past, future to past, present continuous and all those that we have studied. Fine. Past perfect, past present continuous and various things that we have studied. Now, we would be proceeding further, learning few more things. I hope yesterday that we had covered. Let me remind once more about that one point about say. Fine. If the reporting verb is in present, fine. If the reporting word is in present, fine. Example, let me give. He says, I am unwell. Fine. So, even when we are converting it to indirect, because this says is in present, fine. So, the tense of the indirect, again the tense of the direct is in present. So, the tense of the indirect do not change. We would not be changing the says. Fine. And so, it is he says that, says remains same, says it would not go for said. Fine. He says that, again that would be added. Fine. He says that he is unwell. See, as it is says, it is in present. Instead of was, it will come as is, because again it has to match the present. Fine. It would not go like in other ways when we are changing the sentences from direct to indirect. We are changing, he said that he was unwell, but as this is, he says that he is unwell, because it is in present tense. So, please take care of this part. Fine. Now, few more things that we need to make a note of. So, please take care. Few things during this tense change and other things, there are few things we need to take care of. Fine. First point is, the tense does not change if the statement is a universal truth or is still relevant. However, we can often choose whether to keep the original tense or change. Fine. So, see, first point that we need to note, which are the important factors, because we need to know some blind rules, some important factors which are very important. Like when we see, yes, the first point that we need to note is the tense does not change if the statement is universal truth. If it is the universal truth, the statement does not. But again, there is an option, is or it is still relevant, however, we can often choose whether to keep the original tense or change. Yes, sometimes when we are talking, we need to change the tense. So, again it is up to us, but again we need to follow few things even while changing. Fine. So, please take care, like let me give you an example. Mary said, I know her address. See, this is the fact, this is the truth, fine, that she knows and you cannot do anything on this. She knows the address, but again in such cases you can, if you want, you can make the changes, like Mary said that you can use know and even knew her address. So, about whomsoever we are talking, Mary said, I know her address, about some person that she is talking about, fine. So, this is the fact that she knows the address, we cannot change on that part. So, it is a fact. So, Mary said that she knows her address, or you can even say she knew her address, fine. So, accordingly both is right, but again more than this we cannot change the things. This part would remain, fine, her address and other things, she knew, I know her address. So, I would go to she, because it is Mary, it would go to she, fine. We cannot use I know her address, because again this is indirect speech. So, we would take care of that part. I would change to she, knows her address, fine, or knew her address, both would be right, fine. Next example, even let me give you one more example, so that you know this point can be more clear to you, or I think we can understand this, and let us go for the second point. So, please understand this point. Although in the theory the past tense, yesterday when we learnt about the past tense is changed into past perfect, fine, past tense is changed into past perfect as it is already done, the work is finished. Again in spoken English, but in spoken English it is often left changed if this can be done without causing confusion. Again there should not be confusion, it should not cause the confusion and the change in the meaning. First thing that we need to take care is the meaning, and it should not cause confusion and the meaning should not be changed, fine. Often left changed if this can be done without causing confusion or change in the meaning. So, both should not happen, they should not cause any confusion and change in the meaning, it has to remain the same, because we cannot change the meaning of the sentence, only the tense can change, but the meaning of the sentence has to remain the same. And already we have learnt yesterday, if we are changing from past tense to past perfect, what we would take care of. So, please keep that point in mind. Let me give one example again, so that it can help you out. Okay, we can, a simple one, he said, I love her. We can say that, okay, we can use this way, he said that he loved her, fine. See, again the meaning does not change, he said that he loved her, I becomes he, fine, he love becomes loved, fine. Now, otherwise even you can write it in this way. Again when we are saying this, if we are saying he said that he had loved her, there would be change in meaning. How? Because we are using he said that he had loved her. When we are changing it to past perfect, he had loved her. He had loved means, so now either then he no more loves her. What do we assume? It changes the meaning, it gives confusion. So no, we would not. So this would be wrong sentence. He said that he had loved her, because we said from past tense to past perfect. When we are going for past perfect, it is changing the meaning. In such cases, we would not be changing, we will only change he loved her. We would not change he had loved her. Even this is past perfect, but again we would not use had. Fine, because when we are using it, it is changing he had loved, so now he does not love. We can assume it as he does not love. It creates confusion, it changes the meaning. So it should not happen. So please take care of this one part. Next thing that we need to keep point is, the third point that we need to take care of is the past continuous tense does not change into past perfect continuous, because yesterday as we have learnt, fine, past continuous tense would be changing, but in some cases it is not that we would take care of. Fine, past perfect continuous, when it is or when it refers to a complete action. See, when the action is completed, it is already done, it cannot change to, the past continuous tense does not change to past perfect continuous. Fine, it would not. When it, see, the past continuous tense does not change into past perfect continuous when it refers to complete action. The action is completed, done. How? Let me give you an example. So it is, he said when I saw them, they were reading books. Fine. So again it is a continuous past continuous process. Fine. Now again in this case, what would come? He said that when he saw them, they were reading books. So this they were reading books, this does not change. Fine, this would not change. Only the thing is, okay, saw them reading books, you can take it, saw them reading books. Fine, I changes to he, but again he said when I saw them, they were reading books. He said that when he saw them, they were reading books. So no major changes, because again if you change in this, the meaning would change. So we would not. Again we should have, please read, go through how would you, like yesterday that we have gone through the table of the tenses, and even this noted point, please take care of these points so that it does not confuse you while doing this from direct to indirect. Please read properly, understand it so that it can help you better. Now next, and please have the presence of mind so that it can help us out. Next point when we are looking into, okay, next point that we would take care of is there is no, fine, there is no change in unread past tenses after, please understand this, wish, would rather, had better, it is time. Yes, so these things that please take care, that these things would not be changing. Example, let me give you. See, there is no change in the unread past tense. I wish. Again, wish is an assumption. It is I wish, would rather, had better. Fine, these things are all assumptions. These are the unread past tenses. Fine. Example, let me give you for better understanding. So, what is this sentence saying? The student said that we wish we didn't have to take test. Now, when we are changing, what would we keep in mind? Fine. Please look into this. The students said that would be added, that we know, that comes. Fine. They wished they didn't have to take the test. Take the test. See, when we are looking into this sentence, please understand this. The first sentence what we have given into direct, the student said, we wish we didn't have to take the test. We wish we didn't have to take the test. But when we are changing it to indirect, the student said that we became they. Fine. Wish became wished. The tense changes. Wish became wished. Again the sentence. Fine. Wished. We again they. Fine. This remains the same. Didn't have to take the test. Fine. This remaining, the student said that we became they. Wish became wished. Again we became they. Didn't have to take the test, because what they said, that sentence remains the same. It would not change. It is called the unread sentence, the unread part. Fine. As given here, the past unread past tense, the unread past tense. Fine. We don't know whether it is possible or not, it is a fact or not, it has happened or not, will happen or not. So, it is called the unread. It is called the unread past tense. So, after that we will not. So, please take care of. Fine. See, after wish, wish has become wished. Fine. So, again take care of such part. Now, let us go with the next point. Now, let us go with the next. A, what we have covered is changes in tense, tense changes. Now, we are covering the B point, and the B point is change in pronoun or the change in pronouns. Fine. This is the next point that we would be taking care. Tenses is the main thing which the indirect and indirect, the tenses concept, when it is clear, all other concepts go clear. So, already what we have read about the change tenses, please remember this, please take care of this, so that it helps you very easily. And now, when we are changing the pronoun, even that during the tense change, how would the pronoun even change, you will understand it in a better way. So, from direct to indirect, when we are doing it, how would the pronoun change? Fine. So, let us understand it. So, pronoun change, tense change, these are all the important factors which you need to take care of. So, with the tense change, again pronoun would even change. The pronouns of the direct speech are changed. Again, let us keep this in mind, where we feel it is necessary, where necessary, only where be necessary and from first or second person to third person. However, please remember, if the speaker is reporting his own words, there is no change in pronouns. Fine. Now again, please remember, this is very important thing that we need to remember. The pronouns of the direct speech are changed where necessary, like from first or second to third it becomes. Fine. Where necessary, it is changed from first or second person. From first or second person we would change it to third person. Fine. And however, if the speaker is reporting, if the speaker himself or herself is reporting his own words, there is no change in the pronoun. This is one very important point that we would take care of, that if the speaker is reporting, please remember, if the speaker is reporting, in this case, like his own words when he is reporting, there is no change in the pronoun. How? Fine, let us go with the example. Okay, now it is, he said, I have forgotten my book in my room. Fine. So, what would we do with this? He said, I have forgotten my book in my room. Now, what are the changes that we would make? Fine. He said that, this is, I think by now we should know very well that this is how we would start. He said that he had forgotten his book in the room, or his book, yes, as it is mine, it will go as his book, he had forgotten his book in his room. So, please take care of this point, like, because again it is the first person changes to second, that point let us remember. He said, I have forgotten my book in my room. So, when we are saying it, he said that I becomes he said that I becomes he, I had, have would become had, I had forgotten, because the tense changes, so this is past perfect. I had forgotten, he had forgotten his, again I becomes he, fine, my becomes his, fine, in my room again becomes his room. So, from first person changes to second or third person, again this thing would happen. So, please take care of this part. Next example, even for better understanding, let me give. I said, again what the second point that we were wanting to cover, from first person or this thing. However, if the speaker is reporting, now let us take the example. I said, I like my new job. So, when it is, I said, I like my new job. So, it is the first person who is speaking, the speaker who is speaking is putting his own, this point when we are looking. However, if the speaker is reporting, so now the speaker is reporting his own words. He is reporting his own words. So, in this what would we do? Please remember this. So, next time when you are practically using it, it would be of a great use, that yes, you would have a better understanding and you would be able to convert it easily. So, what would we say? He said that, I as it is, yes, I said that. Okay, now even reporting is done by the self person. However, if the speaker is reporting, I spoke, I am reporting it. So, how would I say? I said that I liked, the tense would changed. I liked my new job. I said that I liked my new job. Suppose, let me give an example. I was talking to a friend of mine. I said I like my new job. Person, what? Suppose the person is asked, could not understand or hear what did I say. So, I am reporting it. I said that I liked my new job. So, when you are converting, if I am reporting my own words, how would I do it? Fine. So, when we are talking and when this, so in spoken English, please take care this point, that there would be, however, if the speaker is reporting his own words, if I am reporting my own words, the pronoun would not change. Fine. Yes. So, next point when we are going. So, now let us go to the C point. We have completed 2, tense change and the pronoun, change in pronoun. Now, let us understand change in adverb and adverb phrase, adverb phrases of time. Please, this is again very important point that we need to take care of, change in adverb and adverb phrases of time. This is again very important thing that we will take care of. So, what we will take care and what are the points we need to consider? Fine. First, let us understand this thing, adverb, this and that. Adverb this and that. This is again we need to take care of is the adverb this and that are converted to these and those. This and that are converted to these and those. How? What? I will tell you the details. Fine. However, when used as adjectives, they are changed to the, fine. Please remember this one point. How? Let me explain you better with an example, so you can have easy and a better understanding. Let me give you the example for it. Let us take an example. He said, I bought this diamond ring for my wife. So, again please let us take care of few points. Fine. He said, I bought this diamond ring for my wife. So, how would we convert this? Fine. All the points that we have taken care of, this, that, these, those and everything. Fine. Here when it is, we will change it accordingly. He said that he had bought the diamond ring for his wife. So, I hope now it is clear. See, when we are over here in the sentence, when we are seeing, he said, I bought this diamond ring for my wife. He said, I bought this diamond ring for my wife. Now, when we are converting it, Fine. This is, now we are learning about the adverb and adverbial phrase of time. So, how would we do it? He said that he had bought. Again now I becomes the pronoun that we had taken care of. So, remember this I is changed to he. Fine. And now as we are learning the adverb and adverbial phrases, had bought this diamond ring for my wife. Fine, might be he is showing it to someone, he is saying this diamond ring, that we would say change it to the diamond ring, the particular diamond ring. So, it is the diamond. So, about the particular ring that we are talking, so it is the diamond ring, a particular diamond ring for his wife. When we use the, it specifies it is about a particular item that we are talking. So, please keep that in mind. So, again this and that can be even changed to the, these or those, the. So, please take care of. Fine. Next, let us take care of is, okay, one more thing that I would want you people to mainly understand, let us understand this, changes in adverbs or adverbial phrases of time, okay, are as listed. Fine. So, this thing we would take care is, this is one important point that we would take care of, the adverbs and the adverbial phrases. I would like to share it with you guys about how would what are the changes and how are the changes that we would get. So, please keep that into mind, so that would help you out when you are changing from direct to indirect. So, let us have this thing, this is direct and this is indirect. Fine. And how, what would be the changes? Now, today would change to that day. Fine. Next is yesterday will change to the day before. Indirect and indirect, these are the changes that we will have to take for the adverbs and the adverbial phrases. Please keep this in mind, so it would be a easy concept for you while you are making the change. So, if you have got yesterday, the day before, fine, the day before he had come, yesterday he had come, if the person has said, fine, instead you would, when it is an indirect, you would change it, he had come the day before. Fine. Next, the day before yesterday, there is another thing, the day before yesterday. I hope we know this, the day before yesterday, when we say one day prior to yesterday is the day before yesterday. So, how would we convert that? 2 days before. It is simple, 2 days before. Yesterday, today and yesterday, if we have count 2 days before, it has gone to. Next, tomorrow, the next day. So, tomorrow is naturally the next day, to today. So, we would use it this way when it is changed to indirect. Tomorrow is the next day. The day after tomorrow, this we would say it as in 2 days time. Okay, the day after tomorrow would again become in 2 days time. So, we are counting today and tomorrow. Fine. So, it becomes in 2 days time. Then next week, the following week. See, when we are talking about the next week is the week after this week. So, the following week coming. So, please remember, we would be using it. This is a professional and official term of using the next week in indirect speech. So, please take care of this point. Then last week, the previous week. So, again when we are looking into next week is the following week, which is going to come after this week. So, when we are talking about the last week, the last week which is already prior to this week, so it would go as previous week, the previous week. I had bought this phone mobile the previous week. I had bought this mobile the last week, and if it is going in indirect speech, she had bought this mobile in the previous week. Fine. So, accordingly please take care of, and we would say in the previous week, because we are talking about one specific week, the last week, the previous week, not any previous week, it is the previous week, the specific previous week that we are talking about. Fine. So, this table, please remember, it is an important table which we need to take care. Fine, this is very important table that we need to take care of. So, today becomes that day, yesterday becomes the day before yesterday becomes 2 days before, tomorrow becomes the next week, the day after tomorrow in 2 days time. Please keep this in mind, in 2 days time. Next week, the following week, and the last week is the previous week. This is some important changes you need to remember, the changes, the adverbial phases of time. Please, if you remember this, your communication becomes more stronger and you will have less chances of error in your spoken or written English. Yes, next when we are looking into, see, there are few questions we get in mind from direct to indirect and all this indirect speeches, that few points that we need to take care of. So, let me tell you those. See, the questions, we would say this, questions in direct speech. This is one very important point that we need to take care. Fine, these are few important points, so that if we know in direct speech few things, our conversion becomes more easier. Fine. So, now when we are looking, when converting the question in direct speech into indirect speech, the reporting verb say / said is changed to ask / inquire. See, in few cases, when converting the question in direct speech, a question in direct speech into indirect speech, when we are making that changes, we need to take care is the reporting verb say or said, the reporting verb say or said is changed to ask or inquire. Ask, inquire. Like we had learnt, say, says remains says, but when it is say indirect, we would go with inquire. Fine. So, now let us share with some example. So, when we are going with, he said to me, what are you doing? So, how would we convert this? He asked to me, he asked to me what I was doing. See, because you are talking, he asked to me, what are you doing? That is the speaker's sentence, and now you are speaking what the person had asked you. So, it would go as he asked me, the said becomes asked to me, what I was doing. Fine. Now, when you are saying the person's words, it would become, you becomes I, because now you are telling what the person said and the person had asked you, what are you doing? And now when you are explaining it, you would say I. Fine. Or let us give one more example. The policeman said to us, where are you going? So again it comes as, the policeman asked us where we were going. So I hope we remember when we converted. Let's remember all the rules till now that we have studied. Said becomes asked, and the remaining changes, even I don't want to confuse you by telling it right now. So even all that we have learnt about the tense changes and pronoun changes, everything that we can observe in this one sentence. So please remember, keep these things in mind. So at present what we are learning, said changes to asked. Fine. Next, when we are going, next point that we need to remember again is if in the direct speech. Please remember this point. If in the direct speech, the question begins with a question word as who, what, when, where, why, how, etc. See, when we are looking into this, who, what, when, where, why, how, these are called WH questions. Please, when if anyone asks you about or tells you about the WH questions, please remember WH questions are this one: who, what, when, where, why, how. These come under WH question. And the question word for this, when we are talking, the question word used is repeated in indirect speech. It's nothing tough, it's very simple that they are trying to say. Let me give you the example. He said, who went home? So now what we will keep in mind is this: he wanted to know who went home. So this thing, who went home, remains the same. He said who went home. So this is naturally he is wanting to know. So he wanted to know who went home. Fine. Next, when we, one more example let me give so that the concept is more clear. Okay, fine. Okay, he said to me, why don't you speak English? Again, let's please remember, he said to me, why don't you speak English? So now how would we change it? He asked to me why I didn't speak English. So now again, please take care of all the important points. Here as we are looking into, again, please remember, why don't you speak English? Why, again, why remains the same? Why you becomes I, because I was speaking when I was asked. He asked me when I said. Fine. So again, why I didn't speak English. So this WH question word would remain the same. That would not change. So please don't get confused and keep this in mind. So now let's go with the next point. Okay, if there is, next point is, if there is no question, if there is no question word, that is if whether is used. If there is no question word and if or whether is used, if or whether is used, what would we do? Fine. Let me give you the example and make you understand this. Do you speak English? He said to me. Fine. Again, now this way we start. Do you speak English? He said to me. So, how would we convert this? He asked me whether. He asked me whether or if I spoke English. So, now please remember this thing. When we have said, do you speak English? He said to me. Now, when we are converting it, in this case, what point? If there is no question word like question words like why, which, who, what, we do not have the question word, but a question is asked. Fine. So, do you speak English? He said to me. It goes, he asked me whether or if I spoke English. It goes simple. Fine. So, please remember this. If there is no any question word, how, who, with, what and all those, when it is not there, remember please use whether or if there is a direct question asked. Fine. So, till now that the changes that we are supposed to, the questions that we have in the direct speech are this, we would be proceeding further. Fine. But please remember the points till now shared. We would be sharing further things and concluding the direct and indirect speech in our coming session. Thank you and have a great day.